In this video, we will explain absolutely everything you need to know to travel to Salzburg, the city of music and the jewel of the Austrian Alps. This is the definitive guide and the most complete video you will watch today about the hometown of the genius Mozart, the place where untouched Baroque architecture mixes with the breathtaking mountain scenery that served as the stage for the movie The Sound of Music. We will cover everything from the logistics of how to arrive by train from Munich or Vienna, how to avoid the crowds in the narrow streets of the historic center, what is the secret to tasting the monk's beer straight from the wooden barrel. We will also tell you about the vital requirement of travel insurance for Europe and where to buy the true original marzipan sweet of the city. So let us get started. Salzburg is a city of extreme elegance and a lot of tradition. The name means salt fortress, due to the trade that enriched the region in the past. The Salzach River cuts the city in half, dividing the old part from the new part, and the skyline is dominated by an imposing medieval castle on top of a cliff. It is a romantic, safe, clean destination with a very strong cultural energy. Now let us move on to logistics and planning. What is the best time to visit Salzburg? The best time is spring and early autumn, especially the months of May, June, September, and October. In these months, the palace gardens are full of perfect flowers, the temperature is super pleasant for walking all day, and the number of tourists is smaller. Summer in July and August is hot, reaching up to 86 degrees Fahrenheit, and it is the absolute high season, mainly because the city hosts the Salzburg Festival, one of the most famous classical music and theater events in the world. Everything gets crowded, and hotels become very expensive. Winter is magical with the surrounding Alps covered in snow. If you go in late November or December, the city transforms with the traditional Christmas markets scattered throughout the squares of the historic center, with lots of light Christmas choirs and mulled wine, but prepare your heavy coat because the cold is biting. And how many days to stay? Many people make the mistake of doing just a rushed day trip coming from Munich. To see the basics of the city, the historic center, go up to the fortress, and visit the gardens. 2 full days are enough. But to feel the energy of the cafes, visit the Palace of Waters, and take an unforgettable tour through the Alpine lakes in the village of Hallstatt, the ideal is 3 to 4 full days using Salzburg as a base. Now let us talk about transportation and how to get around. To arrive, the most common logistics is the train. Salzburg is on the border with Germany, so a high-speed train journey from Munich takes only an hour and a half. If you come from Vienna, the fast Austrian train takes about 2.5 hours. To get around the city, the public transportation system is excellent. You will do practically everything on foot in the historic center because the streets are closed to cars. When you need to go a little further, the electric bus system solves everything quickly and punctually. The golden tip is to buy the Salzburg card for 24, 48, or 72 hours. Besides giving unlimited public transportation, it includes free entry to most museums and the castle funicular, which saves you a lot of money. Do not rent a car to stay inside Salzburg. The center is exclusive for pedestrians and parking lots charge absurd amounts. Only rent the car on the day you are going to explore the Salzkammergut Lakes region. Staying in a good region will define the style of your trip. The first option, and the most charming, is the historic center known as Altstadt. You stay on the left side of the river, surrounded by medieval alleys, by the cathedral squares, and at the foot of the fortress. It is the most expensive and romantic area, but you do absolutely everything on foot. The second option is the new city, the Neustadt, on the right side of the river, near the Mirabell Palace. It is a much more practical region with wider streets, easy access to the central train station, and with hotels that are much more modern and cheaper than those in the old center. The walk from there to the fortress takes only 15 minutes crossing the pedestrian bridge. The third option is the Maxglan neighborhood. It is a more residential and wooded area frequented by locals. It is about a 20-minute walk from the tourist bustle, but houses excellent inns, authentic breweries, and offers a wonderful silence for sleeping. We created this personalized map that explains exactly which is the best region to stay. Staying near the river in the historic center or near Mirabell, you cannot go wrong. We will leave here on the screen QR code and in the video description the link to this exclusive map. We created them on the hotel site we always use, as it always has the best prices and reliable options. We will also leave links to the hotels we have already stayed at and approved. In all destinations, we always recommend one that is very cheap and super well located for those who want to save money, and another that is a little better in the same location but a little more expensive with more comfort. These are great options tested by us. An important tip to save on accommodation is the advanced strategy. Salzburg is small and attracts tourists from all over the world in search of the history of the movie, The Sound of Music, and the legacy of Mozart. Hotels sell out many months in advance, especially in the summer and during the Christmas weeks. That is why we really like using this site we indicated. In addition to having the lowest prices, it has free cancellation with almost all hotels. You can book as soon as possible to guarantee a much lower price, and if you need to cancel later due to any change of plans, it is super easy and at no cost. And remembering that, in this link below, we always organize everything you need to set up your entire trip for the lowest price on a single page. The sites we use to build our trips, and that have everything much cheaper, such as the international virtual cell phone chip, to have internet on the street, travel insurance with discount, which is mandatory in Europe, tickets for palaces and music concerts, good and cheap hotels we have already stayed at, and the global account to carry dollars paying much lower fees. Save this page in your favorites. Now let us get to the main attractions with details you cannot miss. Attraction number 1 is the Hohensalzburg Fortress. It is the fully preserved medieval castle that dominates the city landscape on top of a cliff. You take a fast and modern funicular train in the middle of the historic center to go up. The fortress was never conquered. Up there, you visit the luxurious chambers of the Prince Archbishops and have a breathtaking panoramic view of the city cut by the river and the Alpine Mountains. Attraction number 2 is Getreidegasse Street and Mozart Birthplace. It is the most famous and charming shopping street in Austria. The great peculiarity is that absolutely all stores, including large global fast food chains, are required to have wonderful wrought iron signs in medieval style preserving the harmony of the street. There at number 9 is the Yellow House, where Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was born. The place today is a fascinating museum where you can see the genius childhood violin and locks of his hair. Attraction number 3 is the Mirabell Palace Gardens. It is located in the new city. It is a meticulously cared for garden with mythological statues, fountains, and thousands of roses. The place exploded in fame worldwide because it was the setting where actress Julie Andrews teaches the children to sing the Do-Re-Mi song in the movie The Sound of Music. The framing of the flowers with the fortress in the background is the classic photo spot of the city. Attraction number 4 is the Salzburg Cathedral Complex and the Residenzplatz Square. The cathedral has a giant turquoise dome and a grandiose Baroque interior where Mozart himself was baptized. The surrounding squares are immense with majestic fountains of seahorses carved in stone, where traditional horse-drawn carriages with tourists pass by. Attraction number 5 is the Hellbrunn Palace and its trick fountains. It is a short bus ride from the center. This summer palace was built by a very humorous archbishop. The gardens are filled with hidden mechanical water fountains that squirt water at visitors at the most unexpected times. The tour is guided hilarious and very refreshing on hot summer days. Attraction number 6 is the Augustiner Brewery. It is not just a bar, it is the largest beer temple in Austria and is located inside the old monastery of Mölln. The tradition is wonderful. You grab a large clay mug from the shelves, wash your own mug in a stone sink with running water, and hand it to an employee to fill with the beer produced by the monks straight from a rustic wooden barrel. Inside, there are several small stalls selling sausages and radishes for you to snack on at the communal tables under the trees. An important tip that will save you time and money is to buy tickets for paid attractions, tourist passes, and Sound of Music tours in advance. The lines for the castle funicular usually take a long time on weekends, and the tours sell out fast. We will leave in the screen QR code and in the description the link to the site where we always buy tickets and tours for the lowest price and very easily. Now let us move on to gastronomy. In Salzburg, the food is rich, very substantial, and full of history. The classic savory dish that every Austrian loves is the Bosna. It is the local hot dog sold in a tiny door hidden in an arcade on Getreidegasse Street called Balkan Grill. The bread is crispy, it has 2 grilled sausages, a lot of chopped raw onion mustard, and plenty of curry powder on top. The lines wrap around the block. You also have the obligation to experience the cafe culture by tasting the cakes in traditional places like Café Tomaselli, the oldest continuously operating cafe in Austria. The number 1 sweet in the city is the Salzburger Knöckerl. It is a gigantic oven-baked soufflé shaped like 3 snowy mountains, symbolizing the Alps around the city. The dough is extremely light, dusted with powdered sugar, and served in a dish with raspberry sauce at the bottom. You need to order and share it with someone because it is huge and takes a long time to prepare. Quick and in-depth shopping tips. The most important purchase you will make in Salzburg is the Mozartkugel Suite or the Mozart Ball. You will see the market full of balls in red and gold packaging, but those are the industrial ones. The true and original handmade pistachio marzipan ball covered with dark chocolate is sold exclusively at the First Pastry Shop. The packaging of the original is silver-colored aluminum foil with Mozart photo printed in blue. Buy only in these official stores, the flavor is infinitely superior. For elegant clothing shopping, Getreidegasse Street and the charming interconnected alleys called passages are a designer paradise. What to do at night? Nightlife in Salzburg is extremely romantic and quiet. Do not expect gigantic nightclubs. The classic and unmissable program for any tourist is to attend a Mozart concert at the fortress. It happens in a wonderful hall at the top of the castle with the entire city illuminated below you, where musicians play the composer's greatest hits. For those who prefer a more relaxed evening, The old taverns hidden in the streets at the foot of the mountain are perfect. The Maxglan neighborhood also houses some excellent small breweries where local youth drink and chat peacefully. And if you are traveling with kids, Salzburg looks like a fairy tale for children. The Trick water tour at Hellbrunn Palace draws laughs from any age as everyone leaves wet. The Museum of Nature called Haus der Natur is one of the most fascinating in Europe with aquariums, huge dinosaurs, and interactive scientific experiments that take up an entire afternoon. And the Toy Museum in the Historic Center has a gigantic area focused only on letting children play freely on the floor. Mandatory documentation for international tourists and safety. Salzburg is frequently ranked as one of the safest destinations on the planet. Violent crimes are extremely rare and peace dominates the streets at dawn. In highly touristy areas like Gedgesse Street or around the cathedral, the only care you must have is with opportunistic pickpockets in the middle of the crowd of people, nothing more than that. Visa. Most Western tourists do not need a visa to stay up to 90 days but always need a valid passport. Soon, the European Union will require the electronic travel form, so pay attention to the official rules near your departure date. Travel Insurance International. Travel insurance is strictly mandatory by law to enter the Schengen area, which includes Austria, and must have a minimum coverage of $30,000 for health. The costs of consultations or rescues in mountain areas for non-residents cost the price of a car. Austrian and German immigration is known for asking for the document. We never travel without it, and in the link in the description there is the comparator we always use to find the most complete one for half the price. And to combine your trip, Salzburg has a perfect position in Central Europe. You can take a bus or rent a car to drive just over an hour towards the east to reach Hallstatt, the most photographed and stunning village in the entire Austrian Lakes region. Taking a train to the other side in just an hour and a half, you arrive in the heart of Munich, the capital of Bavaria, in Germany, famous for the traditional Oktoberfest. If you prefer to head west, the train takes you on a journey of just under 2 hours through alpine valleys to Innsbruck, the impressive capital of Tyrol, surrounded by sharp ice mountains. If you liked this complete and deep guide about Salzburg, like the video, and subscribe to our channel to travel more and better around the world. Thank you very much, and have a safe trip.